It's called the Little Dragon, the foam machine, and I'm testing the Collinson soap that you can get at SM City in the supermarket there against the Sure, I guess that's SHER dishwashing liquid that you can get at Ayala Mall downstairs where they have their furniture and their hardware. It's a very bottom floor, or actually like basement floor. You can get these 1 gallon jugs, and the price on the back says 400 pesos. I'm not quite sure how much this is. I think it's about 90 pesos or something maybe, so it's roughly the same price. But I put about this much of each soap, and I set the bottles side by side so it would be equal, and then I added the equal amount of water. As you can see, they're side by side. The water level is exactly the same. Now notice this one has a lot more yellow in it, and this one the soap settled down. I marked the Collinson with a K, so I should probably switch that. So that's the more yellow one, and this other one that's clear with the soap setting on the bottom, that's from the Sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shake these up and you know, make a bunch of foam, and then you know, come back every 5 or 10 minutes and see which one the soap is you know, the bubbles is dissolving the most quickly, and that's the worst soap, and the one that's the bubbles stay the longest, that's the best soap. And then I'll use that in my Little Dragon Aircrete foam machine. So I'm going to shake this up. See me shaking it. Okay, got the foam there. Shake this one up. See me shaking it. Okay, got the foam there. Now notice the color difference. The Collinson with the K is way more yellow, and this is way more white. So I'm not sure if that means something or not. This one's foam looks, to me, it looks more dense. The bubbles look smaller, and this looks a little lighter, and maybe it's just because of the color, you know, and that could just have something to do with the dye. You know, who knows? I don't know. But anyway, we will let these settle, and we'll come back and take a look at them and see which one might work best for the Aircrete. So bye for now. We're back, and it's been 50 minutes, but we have a clear winner. As you can see, this one here has, you can see right through the top, all the bubbles have gone down to about half, and this one, the Collinson brand over there, still has some foam. So very interesting. I sure thought that this Sure dishwashing liquid was going to win. I thought it was thicker and heavier, but it just isn't able to stand up to the Collinson. So I'm going to try to use the Collinson for the foam machine. I've got it all set up. I may try to do a test between Collinson and Dawn. I think we've got some Dawn dishwashing soap too. So I will clean out this bottle here and put some Dawn in there, and then test you know, the Collinson against Dawn. So that'll be my next test. So we'll be back. Bye for now. We're back here now, and we've done the foam test with the Axiom versus the Collinson. The Collinson won it against the Sure brand. This brand here you can buy in Ayala Malls at the basement floor. There's a under the grocery store. You can get that there, but it's not as good. So that one lost against the Collinson. Now we're testing the Axiom against the Collinson to see who won there. And to be honest with you, after a couple hours, almost 2 hours, they look exactly the same. maybe the Collinson has a little bit more. It depends on what the background looks like. You have to have a darker background to kind of see through it. So I don't know if you see the little structure of the foam there versus the structure of the foam there. It looks like there's just a little bit more on this side, but this is a couple hours here, so it was a pretty long test, and they're almost identical. So still, if I were to have to choose between one, number one, you can buy the Collinson at SM City at their supermarket in the larger bottles versus here on Bantayan Island. This is the biggest soap bottle that you can buy, so you have to buy like 30 of these things. But I think you know, for the money, you can get this larger volume for much less. And I don't know what the price is, but I will figure that out and see what the best value is. But pretty much this one and this one are almost equal, just a slight little advantage here to the Collinson as far as what appears to be maintaining its foam. And again, you want the foam to you know, to continue to exist, so while the cement hardens, because if the cement collapses or the foam collapses, then your cement collapses. And what you had, if your cement when it was this full, all of a sudden it starts to drop down because the air bubbles inside of the Aircrete are starting to collapse because your foam is starting to collapse. So you really want the longest lasting foam. So right now, and I'll continue to look for better ones. One of the tests that I do, and you can see, I'll go to the store and I actually get 2 bottles of soap that's roughly the same size, and I'll flip them like that and see. You see how the air bubble went from the bottom to the top? See, there's one there going up very slow. I'll see which one goes up the slowest, and that's the one that I pick because it is obviously the thickest. And the theory is, you know, the thicker it is, the longer the foam will last. So anyway, that's the end of my test for now. I got my foam machine, little dragon wand built for here in the Philippines. The one they send you is American size, but you can't get PVC over here that's exactly American inches. They call it inches, but it's really a metric size that's close, and it doesn't quite work. So you have to use, had to convert it all over to Filipino size PVC. So I've got that made, and I'll show you that in the next video, unless I've already showed it to you in a video before this one. So bye for now. We're about to mix our first batch of Aircrete, and this is the compressor. It does 90 psi at 5.3 cubic feet per minute. You only need 90 psi at I think 2.5 or 2.3 cubic feet per minute, so that should be double the capacity we need. This is the little dragon. It's a bag of cement. This is the mixer. Now I do have the foam injection tube that also goes with that, but I'm not using it because this is just like a real simple job here. What I'm doing is I built this form here, and it's 12 inches by 18 inches by 16 inches deep. I'm just doing one block and testing it. I'm going to do 3 or 4 blocks, but as you can see, I lined it with linoleum to kind of waterproof it, and you know, because I'll be making several of these blocks, and I don't want things to come apart, and the linoleum shouldn't stick to the Aircrete, so it should come off. I've got hinges on these ends, so they flip down like a little truck bed on both ends. So once it's all cured, then I can just flip down the ends and lift out the block. I had to make these little nail things with wires on them here, the nail and nail, so I could pull this tight to seal it. So to make this a tight seal here. And I also made a little bubble in the linoleum that wraps around here to also help seal. So hopefully that'll all work, and we will have a nice block. So and I'm doing just a portion, you know, obviously I'm not mixing up 55 gallons of or 45 gallons of Aircrete to form that. That's only 6.3 gallons. I already did all the math calculations on the size. It's 231 cubic inches to the gallon, and that's 1,260 or 90 cubic inches of space. So what I'm going to do is put 2.5 gallons of water in there with 1 cup of the detergent, and I'm using Collinson. That's a soap from SM City. You can get it at the supermarket. It's in a big container, not real big, but you know, the kind of a jumbo size kitchen use dish soap container. I bought this air compressor at Belmont Tools, and it's an oilless one, so there's no oil, and that's really nice because it's super quiet. The oil ones are like, and all kinds of noise. You turn this on and it just whispers. It's just super quiet. So hopefully that'll work well. And right now I'm going to get to mixing the water. Like I said, 2.5 gallons in that bucket. I also cut some little lines, just a little helpful hint here for guys when they do this thing, because these lids are really hard to get off, but I cut little lines. I don't know if you can see it right there, roughly every 6 inches around here, so that you just grab this and peel it back and it opens. Otherwise you're using screwdrivers and like, you know, changing a tire. If you've ever done that, it's really difficult to get those lids off. So and this is my mixer here. I bought that in Cebu City, down in Carbon area. They got a lot of hardware stores and stuff there. They got pretty much everything down in Carbon area. If you need tools and boat motors, and, you know, I'm talking about the little Filipino type boat motors, the single cylinder, 2-cylinder, diesel and gas. They even have some with electric start. So anyway, I'm going to start mixing this up, and then I will be back in just a second. Bye for now. All right, what I've done, I put, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's about a little less than a gallon. It's 0.83 gallons of water for this capacity of form. I put 2.5 gallons of water in here, and I'm going to put, because it's 5 gallons, if it's full, it's 2 cups of soap. So I filled it halfway full with 1 cup of soap. So this will actually make 22 gallons of foam, which I'm only making 6, almost 7 gallons here. So I need to pour the cement in there. The amount is an amount roughly 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches. So 6 cube will be the amount of cement to mix in here. And so I've got that done. I'm going to put the soap in now into the little dragon. This is the soap that I'm using here, the Collinson, and it's a pretty thick soap, so it should be good stuff. See how slowly it pours? See the bubbles going back through it? Very slow, very slow. It's very thick soap. Should work well. This glass is roughly 1 cup. So some reason it smells like vodka, but it's not. So anyway, roughly 1 cup of the soap in 2.5 gallons of water. Put the water in first, because if you put the soap in first, then you're going to make a bunch of foam. And your foam machine doesn't want to suck in foam, it wants to suck in water mixed with soap. And there will be some bubbles at the top. The pickup is at the bottom, so you know, that's the whole plan there, is to pick up the liquid off the bottom. So my hands are pretty soapy, but we need to stir that, and I'm not going to try to make too much foam, so I'm going to have to get a wand and stir it. So I'll be back in just a second after I stir it. So bye for now. So I'm using this PVC to stir this with, and if you look at it, you can see I'm not really making foam and sloshing it around or nothing. I'm just trying to get a good mixture of the soap with the water. And the water in the Philippines, if you get it out of a well, and we do have a well in the back, it's about half as salty as the ocean. This is water from the municipality, which is we call it sweet water normally. It's just fresh. There's no salt in this, and you shouldn't use salty water in that, because if you do use any rebar, it's going to cause it to corrode, and then your structure is not going to last very long, because once the rebar inside corrodes, it pushes the cement out and cracks it, so your whole house will start cracking, or structure, whatever you're building. Now, Aircrete's a little different because it can absorb that cracking because it's got air inside of it, so you might not see it, but anyway, better to not use any salt water or sand from a beach if you're mixing any kind of cement. Okay, so I've got that in there. I'm going to put the lid on now, and it's got a filter on the end here that'll filter out any stuff. You obviously don't want to put stuff in there, but it should filter out any stuff. And got to hook it to the air compressor over here, and we're supposed to have 90 psi, but when you first turn this on, you don't want any pressure going to it, so you want to be sure that there's no pressure on your gauge showing here. Okay, now I will get the wand. Now here in the Philippines, just kind of look at this wand here. This is not the wand that they gave me. The wand they gave me was this piece of PVC and this piece of PVC with a white piece of PVC between it. Problem is that you glue it together, and your steel wool is inside of here. It is stainless steel wool, but eventually over time it's going to rust, and you're going to need to replace it. Well, what I did, I made screw-on ends, and in the Philippines also they don't have the size of PVC that they send with the little dragon. So what I did, I took this size, and it just happens that the size they sent fits inside of this. I believe this is 2 inch, maybe, or 1.5, 1 3/4. But you'll find it, and then you can just assemble something like this, stuff it full of your steel wool, and then this is your wand. So I'm going to connect this up to the little dragon, and then we'll see how this thing makes foam. So here we go. They've got these kind of like an easy slip connector on here. You simply, when you want to connect this tubing, you just slide it into here, and when you want to disconnect it, you push that little blue thing down right there. You push that blue ring down and in like that, and then it should disconnect. Okay, so I'm going to start the foam machine now and just squirt some foam into this bucket here, and see what happens. Of course, you got to plug them all in. Plugs all over the place here in this project. Oh, also on the 220 volt little dragon, they have these round plugs here. It's not the flat plugs, so you have to have a flat plug, flat spade extension cord, but I got a little adapter here that I can plug in. Okay, so we're going to see what happens here. You're supposed to turn this on until it gets primed, so I'm going to turn this on and see what happens. It's going to do something. Okay, now it's primed. Okay, so we got water all in there. Now I'm going to turn on the air compressor, and I actually have to plug it in. It's not plugged in right now, so I'm going to plug that guy in. And turns on. Push that down. And it should, oh, okay, it's not going to turn on because it's already got 90 psi of pressure. Okay, so hopefully we'll start making foam in just 1 second or two here. So let's see what happens. Look at that. Okay, so she's making foam, and it's a nice creamy foam. It really feels nice. Now what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to actually weigh this. You're supposed to weigh 1 liter of it, and it's supposed to equal so many grams. I've got a scale on that, and because this is just kind of like a quickie experiment, I'm going to go ahead and just use this foam. It's at 90 psi. The mixture is correct. The soap is a good soap. I did test it against other soaps. You've probably seen that at the beginning of the video. And so we got that guy going. Now I got to measure the cement to put into the water there, and then we'll get the mixture, mix the cement with the water, then we'll inject the foam into the cement, and then we'll pour the foam and the Aircrete into the mold. So bye for now. All right. Okay, well what we did, I put a gallon of water in this pan to see how high it came up, and the reason I did that was because we need about a gallon. I've converted the bag of cement, everything into cubic inches, and then I've gone from cubic inches into whatever proportions we need. So this is 1 gallon of cement for this project that we're doing right now with this little form here. So it's 1 gallon of cement. Put it in here. Okay. And then we need to mix it up with the mixture here. Now again, I do have the attachment where I can inject the foam into this. It's a PVC contraption that wand screws onto, but I'm not using it right now. So, and this is not variable speed, so I don't know how much of a mess this is going to make, but we'll see. You can see it's kind of a slurry, so if I'm going too fast, it makes quite a mess. So anyway, we got the cement mixed up without making a gigantic mess. Now what we need to do is to shoot in the foam. So I'm going to squirt a bunch of foam in there, almost filling it to the top, and then we will mix it again, and then just simply pour it into the form. So I'm going to turn this foam machine on. It's going to squirt out a bunch of foam, and we'll get it to where it's a thick foam before we turn it on and put it in there. Okay, it's already a thick foam, so we're good to go. And again, we're running 90 psi here. They ran less, but it doesn't work good. Okay, and again, the foam is, I'm just guessing as to how much that we really need. I'm just eyeballing it, so I'm not real sure. So hopefully this will be enough to fill that box. think we got a good mix there. And I'm going to lay this down. And now I'm going to pour it into the form. Now if it doesn't fill the form, that's okay. It's very light. It's just very super light. Hopefully we got all the proportions right. And again, if it doesn't fill this form, I'm still going to just stop here. If you can see. Not 100% fill. But what I want to do is, you know, my main purpose here is to see how well the foam hole holds up. You know, hopefully it doesn't try to, or hopefully it doesn't settle, and then the volume goes down. You know, and that's dependent on the quality of the detergent that you got. Now this here, I'm just going to shake it over around and get it level like that. And that's it. So tomorrow, 24 hours later, and I got a little bubble here, and I mean, normally you would probably I'd run it up to the top, and then, you know, run a board across here to level it. But again, this is experiment. We got it almost perfectly to the top, but not quite, and that's just fine for this test. So that's it for now. It's been about an hour or so, and I came out to take a look at this. And I don't know if you can notice from there or what, but there's an indentation here. It's starting to sink and kind of collapse. And what that's due to is my form has a leak. So it's leaking out here and letting this collapse at this end. So that's a thing that you want to be sure that your form, if you're, you know, like me with the little doors at each end so you can flip them down once it's dried, you want to make sure they seal properly. Otherwise, this end here seems to be sealing good. See, it's all flat and level, but this end here, and again, it's hard to kind of see with the angles and that, but it's scooped in here. And it's collapsing right there. And again, you can see the water. It's on the floor. It's leaking out. So nothing we can do about this one. But the next one, I'm going to just take some trash bags, just those little thin, you know, plastic bags you get from the store, and I'm going to roll them up and lay them in the, you know, where this door closes. There's a 2-inch wide area down there that we'll put the bag in, and then that'll kind of pinch it closed, and we'll put a little bag in here and a little bag in here, and then that should prevent this leak. And we'll probably do the same on that, just in case there's any leakage there. But right now it looks like all of our leakage is right here. You can see it there. There's water running out. There's a pool of water coming out and allowing it to kind of collapse. You know, like a cake in your oven. It's kind of, I don't know if you ever had one kind of collapse. It's not bad, but it's still, it's not what we want. So just a little update on that. You can see it's kind of pulling away from the edge of the form here. Pulling away over there a little bit as it shrinks, but it's really not, this end it's really not settling hardly at all. But again, we're going to have to, and that's again due to the quality of the soap that you're using and how well or how long the bubbles last, you know, after the foam is made. It's got to last long enough for the cement to you know, cure. So anyway, not too bad, but still just something we got to fix before we form the next one. So I'll be forming another one with the exact same mixture as this after it's all sealed up, and see how that does before we go on and start adding plasticizer and waterproofing and the Helix micro rebar. So that's it for now. See you in a bit. Bye. All right, well, we're back, and it's been about a week, and it seems to be hardening up pretty good. It seems to, well, it's been raining and the humidity was extremely high, so it took a while for it to really start, you know, kind of getting more solid and really dry out. You can tell I can push on here, and it's really hard to put any indentation, but you did see a small one there.
a small indentation if I push really hard. I mean, this is Aircrete, so I'm going to take this out of the block. And again, I put hinges on the end so I can fold these two ends down. Now, one end leaked, as you can see. I didn't have a good seal here, and it started to run out and made a little sunken part right here where this part ran out until it finally sealed itself. But just a note there that when you make forms, especially with Aircrete, it's because it's very liquid, you really need to have a watertight seal everywhere. The other end sealed good, and I actually put all this vinyl linoleum, they call it flooring here, on the other end. I put a little wave in it, so it kind of helped seal, and it did. But on this end, this was one I did first and just didn't think about it, and sure enough, it leaked. So I got to fix that before I do the next test. And again, this test is 1 gallon of water with 1 gallon of cement. And I'm going to take it out of the block here. Keep flipping that down right there. See if I can get this guy out of here. And may need some help. Let me go get my wife. Maybe I can just grab it from this end here. Let's see if I can get this out. See if I can lift it up. Yeah, it's coming out. Here it comes. Okay, let me, there we go, got it. And again, it's very light. I can pick it up with one hand, as you can see. So this is basically the size of the air hose in here, you can see. So if you're cementing to it, or bonding bricks to bricks, you got a lot of holes that your mortar mix will penetrate and do a good bond. So that's good. And again, it's pretty hard. I'm pushing down pretty hard here, and again, you can crush the surface slightly because it is foam. It's just cement foam. But overall, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty solid. Definitely is lightweight. I mean, like I said, I can pick this up. This is roughly 6 inches, probably 5.5, because I just eyeballed the amount of cement, Aircrete foam and cement that I needed to pour in here to fill it. And I was maybe about a 1/4 inch low, and then we lost some, through the leak on that end. But other than that, it would probably be a decent building block. And it's 1 gallon of cement with 1 gallon of water. And what I did to get all my ratios right, as far as mixing water and that, I kind of had to have a common denominator. So I went with cubic inches. And then from cubic inches, there's so many cubic inches in a gallon. And so I took a gallon of water and calculated how many cubic inches of cement I would need. That's my cement there. It's in a bag and with a bag on top. So the moisture, like I said, it's been raining pretty solid for the last week since I poured this. So I want to keep my cement really dry. But I reduced everything to cubic inches and then converted them to gallons. And then came up with my mixture here. So it's just a 1-to-1, 1 gallon of water with 1 gallon of cement, basically, and then however much foam it took to fill this box. So, and that wasn't measured. The foam, I had no idea how much foam I used. It was just enough to, like I said, fill this up to about a 1/4 inch of capacity. My intention was to fill it all the way full, but I could put a little bit more foam in. My next experiment is to put 1.5 gallons of cement with 1 gallon of water, and then obviously the foam to fill up this and see if that additional 1/2 gallon makes a harder brick, or how much harder of a block or brick, whatever you want to call it, that extra 1/2 gallon makes.
And then from there, we're going to experiment with some waterproofing and some super plasticizer. And then the final will be with the Helix microfiber. And it's actually called Helix Micro Rebar. It's a steel little 1.5 to 2 inch strips of steel that are twisted, and to strengthen the overall blocks. Or in my case, I'm not building with blocks. I'm building. My intention is to just pour the walls in place. Just cast the walls. Just put big sheets of plywood up and reinforce them with 2x4s and that, so that they don't bow out, and just seal them. Again, you got to seal this stuff or it will leak. Every seal has to be basically close to watertight, because it is cement and it is thicker than water. You could probably get away with a little bit, but I wouldn't really advise you to do watertight's the best solution. So for form, so that's an issue that I'm going to have to deal with when I build large scale forms, because the weight of the Aircrete pushing down on an 8-foot or 10-foot high wall, maybe 12-foot long or 10-foot long, you're going to have a lot of weight and a lot of pressure trying to push that Aircrete out through any hole that it can find. So I have to come up with a good sealing system if I'm going to form my walls in place. So anyway, that's it. And I'll be back and we'll do some more experiments, and I'll let you know what the results are. Again, pretty hard block, hard to push in. I mean, I'm not trying to break it. I'm just, testing, pushing, kind of thumb pressure on there, and I'm putting, quite a bit on there. And it's, again, you can feel the surface, just a little micro inch kind of give way there. If I hit it with a hammer or something like that, I'm sure I could dent in it. And again, this Aircrete behaves kind of like wood. So, if you can hit wood with a hammer and put a dent in it, you can hit Aircrete with a hammer and put a dent in it. And you can nail nails into it and screw screws into it, saw it with a hammer. And we're going to be doing that after the waterproofing test. I'm going to put this block and another block in buckets of water. The block with the waterproofing additive, for a day or two, leave them in there, then pull them out. And then we're going to have to saw one end off, or saw them in half, and see how far the water penetrates into each one, to see how well waterproofing additive works. And for a bag of cement, a bag of waterproofing additive here in the Philippines is about 28 or 30 pesos. So and a bag of and they're just small bags, just small bags, 6 inches by 10 inches or 6 inches by 6 inch bags of, this powder additive that you add. They're pre-measured to work with one bag of cement, and we'll see how well they work. And then when you guys do Aircrete projects, you'll kind of have a running start on what's going to work best for you, what the ratios, the best ratios are, and those types of things. So hopefully this is all helpful, certainly helpful to me, and we'll be back with more from my paradise on Bantayan Island. Aircrete for everyone. Bye for now.